You are listening to the best of Talk to Me on uncontrollednoise.com. Make sure to tune in each Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, to uncontrollednoise.com for 2 hours of the best conversation and metal on the internet. All right, guys, that was some Dream Theater. Let's get into this. John, are you with us?
What is up, man? How's it been? How you been?
It's been a while. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. How are you?
I am doing well, man. Just hanging out here Thursday night. Got some John Drake on the live show. It's good stuff, right?
It's excellent stuff. Now, before we get to anything else, I have a request.
All right.
I would like to, before we get started on this show, I would like to ask to come back on the show on Thursday, September 12th, for obvious reasons.
Is that before or after the game?
That is the week after the game. So your Titans and my Browns start the season against each other. So, you know.
So you want to come on after you lose. So you don't want to come on the week before?
We can do however you want, man. I mean,
that's too much.
How crazy is it? How crazy is that the season worked out like that, man? You know,
it's definitely crazy the way that everything worked out that way. It's crazy that I just had Jason T. Smith on the podcast, another Cleveland guy. We've got a $20 bet on the game, and I got the points. I was just at the MGM Grand, and I went to their sports book to see what their futures wagers were, and they had the Browns are a 5.5 point favorite. I was like, oh my God.
See, I don't know betting. Is that a lot or?
Yes, that's insane.
Okay.
Well,
I mean,
you guys probably haven't been a 5.5 point favorite since like 1998.
Since 1989, the last time we won a division title.
Right. Too good.
In your defense, man, as much as I'm excited for it, you know, as they say, we haven't won anything yet, so we'll see what happens. But
they keep saying that the good thing about the Titans getting the Browns early is that, you know, maybe you guys haven't got all of your the team camaraderie together and things like that. So we might be able to sneak up on you.
That's true. That's true. And I'll make one more comment, then we can get into music, which is what people actually want to hear about. But I will tell you that since you guys are coming to our place for week one, Cleveland week one is so absolutely energized every year. Even, you know, when we were 1-15, 0-16, people don't care. So the energy in that place is going to be nuts. Like the Titans are going to have a hard time just with that alone. But
because that's the only week you guys ever have any optimism is week one. After that, it's pretty much all downhill. So you've got that going for you.
Well said, man. Well said.
Well, good times, man.
So what do you want to get into, man?
Well, let's go into your other wheelhouse. You guys all know John Drake, the host of the Nerf Herder Council podcast, one of the most amazing, largest Star Wars podcasts out there. And so what's going on in the Star Wars world, or what are we getting ready for? I know there's a new movie coming out soon.
Yeah, actually, there's two different things. Obviously, Episode 9, The Rise of Skywalker, is coming out on December 20th. So you've got that coming out. But and we actually talked about this on our show last night, that something that's oddly flying under the radar, which looks like it's going to be completely kick-ass, is the first live-action show Disney's going to do for their Disney Plus service. It's called The Mandalorian. And for people who don't know, it's directed by Jon Favreau, who did the first Iron Man movie. He's done all kinds of different things, and it's a 10-episode series. They've spent, I think it's almost $110 million on 10 episodes, but it's basically set about 10 years after Return of the Jedi, and it's the footage that was leaked from Star Wars Celebration Chicago about 2 months ago. It looks absolutely fantastic, and it looks like old school Star Wars, and it basically looks like everything that someone who only gives a crap about the first three movies would really be into. So that's a big thing, and a lot of people are talking about it. So for anybody who's interested in Star Wars at all, I would suggest looking that up on YouTube, because the footage from, again, from Celebration has been leaked, and it looks great. So The Mandalorian is the big deal, but obviously The Rise of Skywalker in December, closing out the Skywalker saga is the big one.
Every time you guys talk about The Mandalorian, I always think of some sort of weird Back to the Future transformer, like a man-DeLorean. So...
it might as well be. I mean, like cosplay wise, the Mandalorian armor is the second biggest thing that people dress up as. So for all I know, there is an actual man, DeLorean out there. So, nice. And if not, you just figured out something to do that no one's ever done. So maybe you should make that and go to Celebration in Anaheim next year. So
I might have to do that. Let's get into a little bit of music talk. We just heard some Dream Theater. I've actually got to swap over this battery real quick. So you're going to tell us, and take your time, about going to see Dream Theater recently, and the whole fan experience and the meet and greet. And I do believe you get to interview them on Aiken show, on the Classic Metal show.
We did interview Jordan Rudess right before you did.
Yeah.
So and I had actually sent you a couple questions that we didn't use, but yeah. So I did. I helped our very good friend Chris Aiken interview him for the Classic Metal show. And I went usually with these types of things. It's, hey, how's it going? Like, move on. But they actually took a lot of time to talk to people, and they let you bring anything you wanted for a signature. You only got you got 2 professional pictures. You didn't get anything on your cell phone or anything like that. Right. But as you're going through the line, you definitely got to take any pictures you wanted. So I've got a bunch of pictures of me, like, BSing with John Petrucci and stuff like that. And I got to take a second to talk to James LaBrie, which is big for me, because as a singer, he and Sammy Hagar are my 2 favorite singers. They're the most influential people to me. And I actually interviewed James back in 2002. Going back to our buddy Chris Aiken, he ran a music magazine called Music's Bottom Line here in Cleveland, and I interviewed Jordan Rudess, and then the publicist called back and asked if I would also interview James, and I talked to James for a good 45 minutes about just singing stuff, outside of our interview, and that's always like really influenced me. And it was so impressive, because when I went backstage, he actually got me backstage for that show because of the interview. And I thanked him for it, and he remembered my first and last name from that, and he was so gracious. And I never had a chance to thank him for that. No, it was a quick thing, but I got to thank him for that experience way back in 2002, 17 years ago, and it meant a lot to me, and it was really cool to be able to talk to him about that for a second. And then the show itself was just fantastic, because it's a weird time for Dream Theater, because having lost Mike Portnoy back in 2010, like, the crowds have gotten smaller. Like, I go to every show, I've been to every tour, but this last one with the Astonishing, that concept record that they did. I literally saw them at a high school auditorium in front of about 150 people, the second leg of the tour. The first leg of the tour, I saw them at Chicago Theater again, and it was sold out, 2,500 people, whatever that place holds. And then here I am a few months later, and there's 150 people. Wow. It was crazy. And this new record has breathed such life into them. And I went to see the show, and the stage production looked like they had $1 million. The guys just seemed way more energized than they did the last time I saw them. So yeah, that time I saw them back in March was absolutely awesome, because it was almost kind of like a rebirth of the band. And as a huge Monster fan, I thought that was awesome, because it was really a bummer the last time I saw them. So.
Yeah, when I had Jordan Rudess on, obviously I'm a fan of Dream Theater, but I'm not a huge fan. Obviously, loved the first album, but that was 1,000 years ago, and I didn't really, keep up with the band. But anytime they put something out, I definitely check it out. But when I got offered to have Jordan on the show, I was like, hell yeah, I'll have somebody from Dream Theater on. And then like, that interview got picked up by Blabbermouth, but it also gets randomly, like, it'll just resurface in Dream Theater fan groups. Like, all of a sudden, Jordan Rudess fan club will share it on, like, just a random out of the blue day, and then another day you'll get Dream Theater Italy. It keeps getting shared through the Dream Theater world, and I think that's pretty insane how hardcore those fans are.
Yeah, I mean, well, and you know what, and it's funny you asked me about it, because obviously, anybody who listened to the show a couple of years ago when I was on with you, for several months, knows I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan. I'm that guy. I first saw them back in, I think it was February of 2000 on the Scenes from a Memory tour, and I haven't missed a tour ever since. And usually it's multiple times, and I do road trip to see them. I'm in their documentary on the Score DVD. I'm in their, my name is in the credits in their biography book and stuff like that. And the fans really, really are like super hardcore. And this and this record, I think, is really something almost for the fans. And that sounds kind of stupid to say that a band like Dream Theater, as musical as they are, and how much they just kind of march to the beat of their own drummer, not to be, punny or musical or anything like that. But, they don't really care about anything but, okay, what gets us off, yada, yada. But, the backlash that they experienced from a large segment of the fan base from the Astonishing, this record really is kind of a reaction to that. And it's almost like, okay, well, the fans like the heavy stuff, they like the progressive stuff, but they like the melody. And you can really hear, when John Petrucci said, oh, this is the three pillars or 5 pillars of Dream Theater, or whatever he used to say in the interviews leading up to this record, it's really there. And it's based on what the fans have told them over the years they really want from the band. So you're dead on when you talk about the fans and how fervent they really are. And this record is a reflection of that.
Right. Did you get that text?
Let me see.
Hey, look, I can see it. Good old,
there it is.
Good old Chris Aiken talking. Shout out, talking about 2 rock stars talking progressive metal. It's always nice to know people are listening out there in the world. This has been an amazing show tonight. I've had to cut to a song because my son needed me to go and wipe his butt, and he keeps talking to me. And what's he doing now? What do you need? Hey. Hey.
When we go to the store,
when we go to the store?
Can we get some kinetic sand?
Get some more kinetic sand.
No,
all right.
No.
Oh, we will definitely do that. Yeah, yes, we will definitely do that. Oh Lord, I chose Thursday nights because I don't normally have him on Thursday nights, and the last few Thursdays I've had him just for random reasons, and it's always fun. Normally it's funny, he'll be quiet all day long until he hears me in here talking, and I think he needs to insert his 2 cents. I'll bring him on in the minute. I think I'm gonna bring him on in a minute, and we're gonna talk some Kiss. So
you should, man. Hey, he's a future radio star in the making.
Yeah,
he sees a microphone and he just, he's got to go.
He has definitely got to go. So what else is going on in the world with the world of John Drake? What's going on with you?
Not too much, man. The Nerf Herder Council is just going as it goes. We did a new episode last night. It was kind of an interesting thing because we're one of the rare podcasts that isn't 100% positive about Star Wars all the time. So I came up with this idea because I'm notorious for hating social media, and I think people are just dicks on social media constantly. And Star Wars social media is just absolutely ridiculous. So I told the guys, I was like, why don't we do this thing? We'll just call it like social media roulette. Like we'll just go on Twitter and whatever we find that looks annoying, we'll talk about it. And I brought that up a week and a half ago, and for a week and a half, nothing annoying came over Twitter. So I was like, crap. So, but we had a good spirited discussion last night, and so everything's going good there. I mean, you and I have talked many times about me playing in the cover band, and it's my 5th year doing the cover stuff, and the first few shows of the year, if it's any indication of what's coming for the rest of the year, it's going to be an absolutely ridiculous year because we've had some insane crowds, and I'm kind of like getting to play rock star, so to speak. And
every time you guys post dates, or you're playing the Weenie Roast and the Chili Cook-Off and all that stuff, and I'm always like, there's more cities other than the 5-mile radius of Cleveland. You need to come down to Louisville, man. We have chili cook-offs and all that stuff too. You can play ours too.
Right. I tell you what, dude, it's actually not Cleveland. It's the Lima area, which is, about 2.5 hours like west and a little bit south of Cleveland. But it's all these cities, like, and I can't even call them cities, but they're basically like hillbilly towns. And I mean, they really are like these things. I mean, like if you look at my page and you see a picture I posted from a week ago, there's 1,000 people in front of me. It looks like, a Metallica show, but it's a bunch of drunken hillbillies, because in these like rural towns, there's nothing to do. So these church festivals and stuff that we play, they are the thing to do. So people look forward to it all week, So, I mean, it's great, but so other than that, with the band and stuff like that, one of the things that's been interesting for me is, this whole, David Ellison's on tour and stuff, and he's going out with Tom Hazart, and I actually have personal history with Tom Hazart. So, your interview with Tom and the stuff that he did, again with our buddy Aiken, the Classic Metal Show, and he's been out there just, kind of running the circuit. It's hilarious to me to like hear these things, because it's a guy that almost, he tried to help me get a record deal. So that's one of the things that's going on, is hearing somebody that I have personal experience with.
That's definitely cool. The one thing I want to jump back to on the cover band thing, it's funny. I think I've talked about it with a few other people too, just talking about, the cover band circuit, the tribute band circuit. There's there's a club here in town that'll book, the Tool cover band and the Korn cover band and the Pantera cover band, and they'll put them all together to be a mini festival of all these great bands, give away a ton of tickets. They'll have a sold out show for all these tribute bands, and that tribute band world right now is blowing up, and it's crazy because there's tribute bands to bands that are currently on tour. It doesn't even make any sense to me.
I think with that, I mean, we have that in Cleveland too, but I think what it is that, there's a market for that music, and some people, they just, first of all, they love the music. So of course they'd love to go to the show itself, the actual band, but the tickets for a lot of these shows are just out of their price range. So for them to actually, hear the music, it's a lot easier to go spend a $5 or $10 cover charge at a local bar and just grab some normally priced, shots and beers and go listen to something that's almost that thing. And, right. I totally get it. And in some instances, a perfect example, me as a huge Van Halen fan, there's a tribute band here in Cleveland called Panama. And they're an awesome
Panama,
David Lee
not Panama.
Listen, man, you can tell me about Pantera or Primer. I'll tell you about Van Halen.
Right.
But yeah, no, like, I mean, like, they're a phenomenal David Lee Roth era cover band, and when you go to hear them, it's like, okay, you could pay, over $100 a seat to go see David Lee Roth with Van Halen when they come around, which is great because you actually get to see Eddie Van Halen. But, I'm not one of these fans, but for a lot of fans, they want to see Diamond Dave. And he sounds horrible. And he doesn't have the long hair, and he's not doing the crazy kicks and stuff and the screams. He just, kind of an idiot right now. Or, you could go to the Sly Fox up here in North Olmsted, and for a $5 cover charge, you can see Panama, where the lead singer's name is Rick, and he can do all the high notes, and he sings the songs, like, so it's like, it's almost, in a lot of cases it's at least equivalent, and in some cases it's better. So I totally get it.
Yeah, it's definitely fun. I mean, like I said, I've said a few times on the show, is when the buddy of mine that wanted me to go see the Pantera tribute band, I was totally against it until we got there and actually heard a few songs, and I'm like, you know what? Hearing these songs live again, pretty cool. The band actually played the songs well. The Dimebag guitar player actually pulled it off, which is like the most difficult part of a Pantera tribute band, is playing those solos and getting that tone down. And I think that the guitar player pulled it off. So overall, I had a lot of fun seeing those songs live again. They played some deep cuts that you probably wouldn't hear. So all in all, I had a great time. So, it's definitely a good time out.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I think your example of Pantera is a perfect example because Dimebag, like, can you play all the notes? Sure, you can. Can other guitar players hit all of his notes? Sure, but there's that feel and that tastiness to what he did, and that's obviously. It's well documented that is your favorite band. Like, for you to say that, like, he actually pulled Dime off, that's a huge thing. And so if someone who is as big of a fan as you are can say, dude, that Pantera band kicks ass. I mean, the average music listener who just is a casual Pantera fan must go to that show and be like, this is amazing. You know what I mean? So I think it's great.
Well, very cool, man. We'll give a plug for the Nerf Herder Council. Where can people find it? All that good stuff.
Well, we are at nerfherdercouncil.com. You can find us there. All of our episodes are on Spreaker, Stitcher, iTunes, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, all those good places. One, I'd actually like to give a plug to a band called Galactic Empire. They are a Star Wars heavy metal band, and they basically took all of the the John Williams soundtracks and put it to thrash metal guitar and stuff like that, and they're awesome. They have 2 records out on Rise Records, and they were gracious enough to let us use their tunes for our intro music, and they're just great guys. We went and met them when they played here in Cleveland and stuff. Awesome guys, so check out Galactic Empire. But yeah, nerfherdercouncil.com, our Twitters, and at NHC Podcast. And if you're into Star Wars stuff, and if you check out the show and are into it, we do have custom-made merch. You can make anything you want with any different version of 3 different logos. A 4th is soon to be coming at shop.nerfherdercouncil.com. So go check it out if you're into Star Wars and stuff, and hopefully everybody enjoys it.
All right, John, and give me a Van Halen song you want to play out.
I will say, why don't we do, since you're a heavy guy, and I know Aiken's listening, let's do Judgment Day, track 2 from 1991's incredible For Unlawful Carnal Knowledge record.
All right, man. Well, thanks for coming on the show. We'll have to get you back on when I'm not preoccupied trying to chase a 4-year-old around the house, and we'll definitely have you on. Let's do the week before and the week after the Titans over the Browns, week 1.
I like it, man. I'm in. Thanks so much for having me out. It's great to talk to you again, man.
Don't forget to check out Talk to Me live every Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on Uncontrolled Noise.